Welcome to bongosikha. Today I am going to discuss the legislature in India, which is called the Union Parliament. So, as I told that the Indian Constitution has adopted a parliamentary model of government on the British pattern or replica of the British model. So the Constitution of India provides for a union parliament which have all the executive authority to legislate the powers over all the subjects of the union list, state list, concurrent list, and all the residuary subjects. The union parliament is a bicameral legislature. What is bicameral legislature? Having two houses. One is the upper house, that is the Rajya Sabha, which represents the interest of the union of the states, and the lower house, that is the house of the people, the members of which are directly elected by the people of India. So this is the meaning of the bicameral legislature. So our parliament is having bicameral legislature. Now, one important point that unlike the British Parliament, our Union Parliament is not sovereign body or the sovereign legislature. It's a non-sovereign legislature. Why non-sovereign? Because the exercises only the Parliament here is entitled to exercise its powers only over those subjects which are granted to it, which are constituted, conferred to it by the Constitution. So it works under the Constitution. It works under the supervision of the Constitution. Like that, the president is not a member of the either house, but when any bill passed by the both houses of the parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, requires president's assent, president's signature. So when it gets the presidential assent, only then it becomes an act. Otherwise, if the president may withhold his signature, the president may apply the suspensory veto. So, in that case, no law passed by the parliament cannot become an act. And moreover, any law passed by the both houses of the parliament can be declared invalid by the Supreme Court by its power of judicial review. What is the power of judicial review? That is the power to examine the constitutional validity of the law. So, if by exercising this power of judicial review, the Supreme Court can declare as null and void any law which has been passed by the parliament. So, parliament is not a sovereign legislative body, it's a non sovereign body because it requires the presidential assent for any bill to become an act, and moreover, the Supreme Court can also declare any law passed by the parliament as null and void or invalid on the ground of the constitutional validity. So this is the what is the nature of the parliament I have discussed. Now the salient features I am going to discuss one by one. What are the important features of the Union Parliament? So as I told right now, that according to Article 79 of the Indian Constitution, the President, though is not a member of the Parliament, but according to 79, Article 79, the President is an integral part of the Parliament. So any bill which is passed by the Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha requires presidential assent. Otherwise, it cannot become an act. So a bill, when it passed or when it gets the presidential assent, only then it can become an act. So that is the one thing, that president is not a member of the parliament but still is a part of the parliament. Next, the bicameral legislature, what I discussed right now, that parliament is having two houses or two chambers, the upper house and the lower house. The upper house, that is the Rajya Sabha, and the lower house, that is the Lok Sabha. But in our country, the upper house is less important or enjoy less power compared to the Lok Sabha. Why? Because the members of the upper house, the Rajya Sabha, is elected by the members of the state legislative assembly, and the Lok Sabha, the members of the Lok Sabha, they are directly elected through the universal adult franchise, that is the vote from the people of the India, by the people of the India. So basically, the Lok Sabha, they enjoy the greater status, or they enjoy more power compared to the Rajya Sabha. So this is one point. And then the non-sovereign status. Non-sovereign status, right now I have discussed that unlike the British Parliament, our Indian Parliament is not a sovereign body, because any law which is passed by either house of the Parliament requires presidential assent. And in giving signature, the president can exercise the suspension veto or may withhold his assent. And when the president does this, any bill which is passed by the parliament cannot become an act. So this is one point. And another point, that the Supreme Court can declare any law as invalid on the by exercising the power of the judicial review, that the judicial review, which means to declare or to examine the constitutional validity of the law. So what is indicated from here, or what we can say, the inference we can draw from here, that the Parliament can amend the constitution but cannot change the basic structure. So this is the main thing, that Parliament can amend the constitution but it cannot change the basic structure. So next, that powers of both the houses are not equal. So later also I will discuss one by one, then also it will be clear much more. That both houses, the powers, as I told, that Rajya Sabha enjoy less power compared to the Lok Sabha. Though ordinary bills, in case of ordinary bills, can be introduced in the floor of either Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, but in case of money bills can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha, not in the Rajya Sabha. So here the Rajya Sabha enjoy the lesser powers, and the Council of Ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha for all their acts of omission and commission, and not to the Rajya Sabha. So here the powers are lesser. And moreover, in case of money bill, when the Lok Sabha passes any money bill to the Rajya Sabha for its consideration, for its assent, the Rajya Sabha has the power of delaying that bill by a maximum period of 14 days. Otherwise, Rajya Sabha cannot do anything over the money bill. And so this is the very simple thing. So Lok Sabha is the real custodian of the national finances, and even in the ordinary lawmaking aspects, also lawmaking powers of the Lok Sabha also has an upper hand compared to the Rajya Sabha. Next to that, according to Article 80, the President can nominate 12 members to the Rajya Sabha from amongst the persons who are having distinguished knowledge in science, arts, literature, and social service. And if the President thinks that to the Lok Sabha, the Anglo-Indian community is not being adequately represented, he can nominate not more than two members of the Anglo-Indian community to the House of the People, or to the Lok Sabha. Then the vice president is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and speaker the chairman of the Lok Sabha. Another feature, that here also, though the vice president is not a member of the Rajya Sabha, but he acts as the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He presides over the meetings of the Rajya Sabha, and the Lok Sabha, in case of Lok Sabha, the speaker is the presides over the joint sitting of the both houses, and in absence of the speaker, the deputy speaker carries on his duties, and speaker and deputy speakers both are elected by themselves from amongst the Lok Sabha, from amongst the members of the Lok Sabha. So now I am coming to the composition of the Lok Sabha. That bicameral legislature I have discussed Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So one by one, first I will discuss Lok Sabha and then Rajya Sabha. So composition. When the constitution was inaugurated in 1950, then the membership of the Lok Sabha was fixed at 500, but at present the total membership of the Lok Sabha is 543 to 545, and two nominated members. And this, out of 543 members, are directly elected by the people in all states and union territories of India, out of 543 elected members, 131 members come from the reserved constituencies. So this is the composition. Next, the method of election of the members of the Lok Sabha, in which method the members will be elected. Any person after attaining the age of the 18 years can has the right to cast his vote or the universal adult suffrage for the elections to the Lok Sabha. And the next, that the reservation of some seats, some Lok Sabha reserve some seats for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes and other backward classes for in some constituencies, territorial constituencies, and like that, and single member constituencies, that from each constituency one representative will be is elected or will stand for each constituency one member. So that is another thing. Then secret ballot, this is the beauty of the secret ballot, that no one will be able to know that who is casting his vote in favor of which party. And now the EVM, electronic voting machine, has been introduced. So there, this has havoc change in the secret ballot system, in the electoral system. Next, that direct election of the members of the Lok Sabha, as we all know that all the members of the Lok Sabha are directly elected from the people of the India on the basis of the universal adult franchise. That is the about the how they can be elected to the Lok Sabha. Now the qualifications for the membership, to be a member or to be to get your ticket to enroll yourself. So what are the qualifications? So he must be a citizen of India. He must not be less than 25 years of age. He should not be a bankrupt. He should have sound mind. He should possess all the qualifications as per the constitution. He should not hold any office of profit under the state government or under the local government or under the central government. So these are the qualifications which are required to for contesting the Lok Sabha elections. Next, that tenure. The tenure of the Lok Sabha goes for a term of the 5 years, but the tenure can be extended for 1 year during the case of the emergency. But six after 6 months, one fresh election is needed when the emergency will be over. So this is the tenure. Next, the session. The president can call the sessions of the Lok Sabha at any time, but in a year, two meetings of the Lok Sabha is essential or essential. That for a gap of 6 months, that two meetings of the parliament should be essential. There should not be a gap of more than 6 months between the two meetings or the two sessions of the Lok Sabha. Next, quorum. Quorum is the minimum number 1/10 of the total membership which is required to conduct any meeting in the Lok Sabha. The speaker can adjourn the meeting if the quorum is not maintained. That quorum means that the 1/10 of the total membership attendance is required. Like any school, attendance is required. So in the Lok Sabha also, it is required that minimum 1/10 members should be present. Only then the proceedings will be conducted in the Lok Sabha. So this is the about the presiding officers of the Lok Sabha. As you know, that speaker is the chairman and the presiding officer of the Lok Sabha, and the deputy speaker, in the absence of the speaker, the deputy speaker carries on the functions. Now the powers and functions of the Lok Sabha. So the legislative powers. Legislative powers, an ordinary bill can become a law after it has been passed by both the houses of the parliament. It can be introduced either in the Lok Sabha or it can be introduced in case of ordinary bill or in the Rajya Sabha. So when it passed by the one house, it is sent to the another house. So the another house can accept it or again may resend it to the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha again can resend it to the Lok Sabha for some reconsiderations. If the Lok Sabha considers those recommendations which are given by the Rajya Sabha, then it's okay. But if the Lok Sabha does not agree, and if then there arises a deadlock type of situation, and if this deadlock continues for more than 6 months, then the President of India called for a joint session of the meeting, and the members of the both houses are, it is mandatory for them to attend the meeting, and the meeting is presided over by the Speaker of the House. And here the Lok Sabha, interestingly, because of its numerical strength, dominates the show, because the total membership of the Lok Sabha is 545, whereas in the Rajya Sabha 250. So because of its numerical strength, it means runs the show, it dominates. So next, executive powers. The executive powers, that is the Council of Ministers, are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha for all their act of omissions and commissions. The Lok Sabha, by passing a no confidence motion, can make the government unstable. So, if the Lok Sabha passes a no confidence motion, then the government may change, because the whole Council of Ministers has to resign, including the Prime Minister. Next, the financial matters or financial powers, that, as I told earlier also, that in case of ordinary bill, it can be introduced in the floor of the Rajya Sabha or in the floor of the Lok Sabha. But in case of money bill, it should be introduced, it must be introduced only in the Lok Sabha. So money bill, after passing the Lok Sabha, it goes to the Rajya Sabha for its approval. If the Rajya Sabha does not approve it within the 14 days, when the 14 days lapses from the date of the submission, then it is considered that it has been approved by both the houses. Though the Rajya Sabha didn't approve, but still it is considered that Rajya Sabha has also approved and the Lok Sabha has approved, because 14 days is already over. And in that case, that bill will be sent to the President for presidential assent and will become the money bill. So this is the financial powers. Next, the judicial powers. The Lok Sabha performs the several judicial powers, like we know that impeachment of the president, like impeachment of the judge, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the India, and any judge of the Supreme Court of India. That is, the two-thirds of the majority is required to pass a resolution, and a prior days, 14 prior days notice has to be given to the president or to the judge by the movers. So this is then the amendment powers, that constitutional amendment bills can be introduced in either house of the parliament, and article 68 of the constitution, and Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha together can pass the amendment bill. So here they enjoy almost all equal powers, co-equal powers, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, regarding the amendment powers. And in case of declaration of emergency, it is mandatory to get the approval of both the houses of the parliament when the president will declare any emergency situation or any emergency, like financial emergency, national emergency, state emergency, any type of emergency. So it is, if the Lok Sabha is not in session, then it is the Rajya Sabha to give approval so that the president can declare the emergency. So this is also the approval of the declaration of the emergency. This is the emergency provisions or powers. So next, that is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, that who is the most important part of the Lok Sabha. He is the dignified part or the person in the Lok Sabha. When the Speaker, he enjoys the equal dignity as the President of India. When the speaker enters the parliament or stands in the parliament, no one stands. And when speaker speaks, no one speaks in the parliament. So this is the speaker, this is the role, this is the power of the speaker. So then, the method of the election of the speaker, that article 93 of the constitution, which states or which provides that the speaker is elected by the members from amongst themselves. The first, the majority party will propose the name after consulting with the opposition parties, and the opposition parties also propose the name. Then the election will be held in the house of the speaker, and who will win, he will be selected as the speaker. So this is the method of the election of the speaker. Next, qualification. So there are no fixed qualification of the speaker, but only that the speaker, essential for the membership, that speaker are experienced and most popular member from the Lok Sabha are elected as the speakers. That is the only qualification, that he has to be very experienced and he has to be very knowledgeable and most popular in the Lok Sabha, that person. Next, the tenure of the speaker. The tenure of the speaker goes side by side with the terms, with the tenure of the Lok Sabha. Like the Lok Sabha is for the 5 years, so the speaker, but before the expiry of his term, the speaker can put his resignation letter to the deputy speaker, or the speaker can be removed by the impeachment procedure, that is by the two-thirds majority of the members of the both houses of parliament present and voting, and a prior 14 days notice has to be given by the movers to the speaker. Next, the powers and functions of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. So, to preside over the meetings of the House, the Speaker, which is the most important function, the Speaker has to govern. The Speaker is presiding over the joint sittings of the Parliament. The Speaker presides over the Lok Sabha meetings. Then, Speaker, another important role of the Speaker is to maintain discipline and decorum in the House. He can suspend any member for using any unparliamentary language in the floor of the Lok Sabha, or in the floor of the Parliament. The speaker can warn him or can ask him to leave the house. So next, that the members of the parliament have the right to ask the ministers questions about the related domains or the portfolios. So, but to exercise these powers also, the members require to take permission from the speaker to ask the questions to the ministers. So this is also another function, or this is also another role of the speaker, to give the permission to the members to ask questions to the ministers. Next, to conduct the business of the house, conducts, the speaker is responsible for conducting the adjournment motion, all types of motions, recognize the members on the floor of the house, and as I told, that if anyone uses any unparliamentary language, then he can rusticate, or he can suspend that person for not for using the unparliamentary language in the floor of the parliament. So this is these are the functions, and apart from this, that power to adjourn the house, that as I told earlier, that if the quorum is not maintained, quorum, that is the 1/10 of the total membership. So if the quorum is not maintained, or the total membership is less than the total membership of the Lok Sabha, then the speaker can adjourn the meeting of the Lok Sabha, because quorum is required. Without the quorum, it is not possible for the speaker to conduct the meeting. So this is the another thing. And decision about a money bill, regarding any bill, whether it is a money bill or not, that will be finally taken by the speaker, and his decision is final. If the speaker has taken that it is a money bill, then it's a money bill. So his decision cannot be challenged. Next, to exercise the casting vote. Normally, the speaker doesn't cast his vote, but in case of a tie, the speaker has the power to cast his vote. মানে যখন টাই হয়ে গেছে, সমান সমান হয়ে গেছে, তখন কোনো একটাকে প্রায়োরিটি দেওয়ার জন্য স্পিকারের এই পাওয়ারটা আছে টু কাস্ট হিজ কাস্টিং ভোট। Next, the link between the President and the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers can communicate to the President through the Speaker. So, Speaker is the mediator of the link between the Council of Ministers and the President. And the administrative functions, the speaker has several administrative functions, the final control over the Lok Sabha secretariat. So this is the speaker, all the functions of the speaker. Now I am coming to the Rajya Sabha, the upper house, which I told. which represents the interest of the Union of the States. So Rajya Sabha has a maximum strength of the 250 members, and 12 members are nominated by the President of India from amongst the persons having distinguished knowledge in science, arts, literature, and social service. So 238 members, and these 238 members are the other 238 members representing the states and the union territories, and the state legislative assemblies working in the 29 states of the India. So next, the method of the election. The members of the Rajya Sabha members are elected indirectly by the elected members of the state legislative assemblies by single transferable vote, proportional representation, method of proportional representation, and single transferable vote. Now next, the qualification of the members. Here also, that he must be a citizen of India. He must be the age of 30 years. He should not hold any office of profit under the central government or the state government, and he should not be a bankrupt. He should possess all the qualifications as per prescribed by the constitution, and he should have the sound mind. So this is next the tenure. Here, like not like the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha is a quasi-permanent house, because Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved like the Lok Sabha. Here, after every 2 years, one third of the members retire, and the fresh elections held to fill that vacuum. So this is the election method sessions, and quorum for the meetings of the Rajya Sabha. The quorum for the meeting of the Rajya Sabha also, that 1/10 of the total, minimum 1/10 of the total strength of the Rajya Sabha. If it is not maintained, then the meeting cannot be conducted, or the meeting cannot be goes on. And the Vice President of India acts as the ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, and he presides over all the meetings of the Rajya Sabha. Now the powers of the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha, in case of the ordinary bills, enjoys the equal powers with the Lok Sabha, because an ordinary bill, as I told right now, can be introduced in the either house, that either Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha, and when if it is passed by both the houses, then it goes for the president for his assent, and if the president signs, then it becomes an act. But if the conflict, but in case of a deadlock between the two houses of the parliament, when then the president calls for a joint sitting of the two houses, which is mandatory for the both houses to attend. The speaker presides over this meeting, and the results, the joint sitting is presided, and if the bill is what is decided after the joint sitting, then the bill is goes for the presidential assent, and if the presidential assent is get the presidential assent, then mm, it becomes an act, and if the deadlock is not resolved, the bill is deemed to have been killed. যদি ব্যাপারটাকে ডিসলভ না করা হয়, যে ডেডলকটা অ্যারাইজ করেছিল, যে দুজনেই সহমত নয় দুই হাউস, সেক্ষেত্রে কিন্তু তখন মনে করা হয় যে বিলটা আর মানে এক্সিস্ট করছে না। Financial powers. In the financial sphere, the Rajya Sabha plays a minor role, because the money bills are introduced only in the Lok Sabha, and Lok Sabha, and if the Lok Sabha sent the bill to the Rajya Sabha for its consideration, the Rajya Sabha can at the max delay the bill by the 14 days. Otherwise, Rajya Sabha has no power over the money bills. So if the Rajya Sabha doesn't approve it within 14 days, it will be sent to the president for the assent, considering that it has been approved by both the houses, and it will become money bill. Executive powers. The Lok Sabha can cause the exist of the Council of Ministers by passing a vote of the no confidence motion. But Rajya Sabha doesn't have that type of powers. The Rajya Sabha cannot pass a no confidence motion because the Council of Ministers are not responsible to the Rajya Sabha for all their acts of omission and commission. So next, the Constitution amendment amending powers. Any amendment bill can be introduced either in the floor of the Lok Sabha or in the floor of the Rajya Sabha. So, in that case, or vice versa, in that case, the Rajya Sabha enjoys equal powers, co-equal powers with the Lok Sabha in case of amending the powers. Next, electoral powers. The Rajya Sabha has the electoral powers in the election of the president, election of the vice president of India, the members of the Rajya Sabha, along with the members of the Lok Sabha, obviously. And judicial powers, they have the judicial powers like the impeachment of the president of India and the removal of any judge of the Supreme Court of India. These are the powers of the Rajya Sabha. Now, apart from this, there are also three important powers of the Rajya Sabha, which I am going to discuss. The article under Article 249, the Rajya Sabha has the power to declare that by two-thirds of the majority of its members present and voting to declare any matter of the state list as the national importance. So this is the one power of the Rajya Sabha, that under Article 249 can pass a resolution by two-thirds majority of its members present and voting to declare any matter, any thing which is under the state list can be declared as a matter of the national importance. And under Article 319, the Rajya Sabha can issue or call for a new type of All India Service Commission, All India Service. So this is the another power. And when the Lok Sabha is not in session, in so declaring any emergency provision, the Rajya Sabha gives approval to the president for calling the emergency. So this is the three powers. These are the three powers of the Rajya Sabha apart from what I have discussed, the Lok Sabha. So this is about the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Now, one thing is that is the relationship between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. So in brief, that passing of the ordinary bills can pass both in the house, either in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha or vice versa. So as I told right now, but in case of the money bill, it can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha, and Lok Sabha always enjoys greater position compared to the Rajya Sabha because of its numerical strength, and it is directly elected from the people of the India. And equal impeachment powers it is having, equal amending powers it is having, but financial powers the Lok Sabha is having more powers compared to the Rajya Sabha. So this is all about the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha, their comparative study. I think you all have understand. Thank you.